Good evening, fight fans. I'm Vern Earwood, Director of Fight Operations. I'm joined tonight by Jeff Cisneros, Sparta CEO. We're here to talk about AVM15, 15 years in the making. Here we are 15 seasons later, Army versus Marines. We're ready to rock and roll. Jeff, how you feeling about the show?
Man, I'm excited, Vern. This is the big one every year. You know, it's the one that we look forward to every year. The fight card is stacked. You've built an absolutely incredibly stacked card. We were just talking about off camera, you know, what is going to be, who's going to steal fight of the night? There's going to be probably multiple performance of the nights.
Man, there's going to be so many great fights, so many potential fight of the nights. Could be some fight of the year candidates on here. We got great matchups like our main event, Ben Lugo taking on Zach Cooper coming from Georgia. That's a fight that could absolutely go anywhere. Both fighters have so much experience. They could end it on the ground. They prefer to stand and bang. We're looking forward to a great main event. Looking at the fight card, you know, that I've put together, that we have put together, because we got a great team here at Sparta. Got Levita Given helping out with the matchmaking now. You know, great people here in production. You know, it all starts at the top of the leadership. What do you think is going to be the best fight of the night?
You know, it's so tough. You know, Jared Padilla and Paul Lucero ruined it for everybody all those years ago.
They absolutely did.
With the Army versus Marine fight, where the canvas was painted with blood. But, you know, I'm actually really looking forward to see if somebody can test David Serrano, because he's been the mythical monster that has just been annihilating people. So, you know, he's got a tough opponent this time, just like he had a tough opponent on paper each and every time. So I'm actually really intrigued for that fight.
Absolutely. Talking about David Serrano, he's taking on Campbell Dunn out of Pound for Pound Muay Thai. Campbell Dunn comes from a wrestling background. He himself is undefeated in MMA right now, 1-0. You know, finishing his opponent. He's from the East Coast, so he's bringing that East Coast brand of wrestling out here with a little bit of mixture of Justin Houghton, J-Ho, Pound for Pound Muay Thai striking. He could definitely be a great test for David Serrano. David Serrano training out of Summit Jiu-Jitsu, War Dog Muay Thai. He's going to put on, or going to look to put on, another great striking display. In his MMA debut with us last event, he knocked out his opponent in the first round. I want to say it was inside of 30 seconds. It was an insane knockout, step through with his kicks, great head kick. I don't see it's going to happen that way this time. I think it's going to be a test.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anybody coming from Pound for Pound is going to be ready. J-Ho gets them ready. They're always great fighters. But, you know, David has just been one of those guys that has stole the show. When
Absolutely.
The lights come on, the guy performs, and he likes bonuses. So look for him to be competing for another bonus on Saturday night.
Absolutely. I mean, he's definitely going to look for that. You know, he's had two wonderful knockouts for us. Some other intriguing fights on the card is we've got our first ever King of Sparta Strikers Series Grand Prix tournament. Yeah. So, you know, you and I have talked about this, collaborated a little bit. I told you I wanted to do something a little different. You love the idea. You know, how did you feel the first time I came to you and said, hey, let's take the main event or the main fight from that tournament out of the cage, leave it in the ring, and make it full rules Muay Thai?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I loved it, Vern. I love that we come up with crazy ideas, and then we, you know, have a great team that allows us to execute it. What everybody pays the money to see is people striking, right? Like, it's great to see the fight evolve to the ground and whatnot, but we have such a dynamic group of strikers. We've talked about it forever. LT Nelson was our entire reason of building King of Sparta, because him, guys like Josh Huber, they were just fucking animals on their feet. To be able to deal with them, you had to walk through hell. So this is the ultimate test. You have boxing, then you have kickboxing, then you have Muay Thai. So I'm really excited. You've got it stacked from head to toe. You know, a lot of people think Demetrius Ramos is the favorite, but in a tournament, a lot of things have to go right. You have to be in flow. You have to stay healthy through 3 fights. So, you know, I'm really excited about it. I was really pumped to see that idea come to life.
Yeah, you mentioned Demetrius Ramos. He is our Sparta 135-pound kickboxing champion. Yeah. He's won in kickboxing, you know, before the title fight in the Sparta ring. Actually, I believe in the Sparta cage, so he's been in both in kickboxing. We've got some other heavy-handed bangers inside of there. Our 125-pound champion coming up to 135 pounds for the tournament, Tristan Harrison out of Rad Muay Thai, fighting another product out of Pound for Pound Muay Thai, Ellie Wise. And Ellie Wise is just no joke. I mean, he's wrecked everybody in his path. Personally, I feel like that's going to be the most explosive fight of the night. I think it's going to be, you know, a fight that's filled with violence from start to finish. There's no telling if somebody's going to get finished in that fight or not, or if it's just going to be a 3-round absolute war.
Well, you know, Tristan, violence is the occasion, which he always says. And he is a true warrior of anytime, anywhere, any weight, any sport.
Absolutely.
He really doesn't care. You know, I love his attitude, and, you know, he's just hungry for it. And it's very hard to go against a guy like that when you've seen what he's capable of, but he's fighting a monster. That's what I love about the tournaments is the prize money brings out the best of the best, and we get to see the most elite guys fight the most elite guys.
Absolutely, and the prize money, it's a great prize for them, $3,000 to the champion. But, you know, in communicating with all these camps, the coaches, the gyms, the fighters, you know, I think they really just want to test themselves. I don't think it's about the money in this tournament.
Yeah.
You know, speaking with Dimitri Ramos, he wants to hands down put a stamp on why he's so feared in the ring, why nobody really wants to fight him, even though he's had some great competition. He's made it look easy. He really has. Tristan has done the same in a lot of fights. This will be our first time having Ellie Wise. Taking on Dimitri Ramos, back to him real quick, we got Dominic Murata out of Colorado Springs, owns and runs a Taekwondo gym, high-level black belt. And, you know, to see him move here in the studio with our production team, the kid looks like he might upset Dimitri Ramos. Looks like he's going to give him a fight. You know, so that's a really exciting fight. You know, the second fight on that card, we've got somebody out of Muay Thai, Colorado, Giancarlo Maldonado. You know, it brings a high level, you know, amount of striking to him as well. Taking on a syndicate MMA prodigy, Montrell Glover. Super excited about that. Chris Trammell, Sparta Hall of Famer, his head coach. He's bringing a little bit of what he used to bring to Sparta, but now in terms of a student. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, I love Chris. Chris has been a staple in the Sparta, you know, for Sparta for many, many years. And I always joked with him and said, I'm really glad to see him not fighting for Sparta anymore because the amount of insurance claims that guy brought through the organization was wild. But, you know, I love Chris. He's an amazing coach. John Wood, obviously, is an amazing coach out there at Syndicate in Vegas. They house a lot of UFC talent there. And the striking, it's a different game there. It's definitely a different level that they're producing there. I'm so excited for this tournament. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. So many things have to work right that night for somebody to win the tournament.
Absolutely. The one fight that we haven't mentioned that's in that tournament is our only fight that's actually matched just from the draw, from the luck of the draw, between two fighters that are both from out of state. So we're going to find out two controversial styles of striking, one from Fit NHB, the Wild Bunch down out of New Mexico, Sergio Gutierrez, and then we've got Matthew Evans coming from, I want to say Iowa, you know, which is a pretty good, you know, stint, but he has a great background. 7-6 is an amateur mixed martial artist, has a history in kickboxing and Muay Thai, so he's very excited for the tournament. And I'm really excited to see how that works, you know, or how it's going to work between two out-of-state competitors here in Colorado. They're both coming to a higher elevation, a little bit of a change, and I want to see who's going to advance in that.
Yeah, you know, interesting fact about King and Queen of Sparta is throughout the tournament's history, the number one seed has advanced all the way to the final every single time. Every time. It hasn't won every time, but has won most of the times, but has advanced every time. So when you look at this, though, I just think there's too many variables in the striking aspect of it.
There really is.
Because, you know, boxing is completely different from MMA, you know, from kickboxing, and then the Muay Thai skill set. Each of these guys has a different skill set, and watching them and seeing what they're all bringing to the table, it's going to be fireworks. I'm super excited to see who's going to win the very first King of Sparta striking tournament.
It's going to be a great tournament. We're looking forward to that. Striker Series, there's going to be more down the road. We'll talk about that as we move forward, you know, throughout the year. Some other great fights that are on this card that we're super excited for our co-main event. You know, we got Caleb Hall, who we've been trying to get on AVM for a number of years. Army veteran, you know, super excited to see what he brings to it, with a veteran from the Sparta, the King of Sparta, 145-pound featherweight tournament, Luis Luna, coming back to us. So that's going to be an explosive fight. How do you see that one going?
You know, that's a tough fight. Caleb is very explosive. Luis is as well. He got caught very heavy shot in the King of Sparta, but he's got a lot of experience. He has a lot more experience than Caleb, but Caleb is, you know, he's so sharp and dynamic. That's another 50-50 pick 'em. I think it's whoever can implement their will that night, whoever can enforce their game plan and their will. What I like about this matchup is they both like to bang. So I think it's going to be chaos and violence.
Absolutely. Our prelim main event before we move into the main card is our only other pro fight on the entire card. We've got Justin Campos out of Victory MMA taking on Alex Fisher, who's taken time away from the game for a number of years, coming back for his pro debut. You got two high-level strikers saying, hey, let's take it out of the ring, let's put it in the cage, let's fight in a mixed martial arts rule set. How do you see that fight going?
You know, Campos is dangerous. Alex, I was talking to somebody else the other day, though he hasn't competed in many years, he is very dangerous. He's very technical.
Absolutely.
And he comes from Bang Muay Thai, and he is so calculated, he's a sniper. And I think that that's going to be a tough fight on both ends. But I'm excited. You know, there's something to be said about ring rust. Can he pick up where he left off? And he was looking really sharp. Campos comes from a very great school, and he's got great striking as well. I mean, that could very easily still fight of the night.
It could. Again, and we spoke about that a few minutes ago, that there's so many candidates for fight of the night, potential fight of the years on this card. A name that I want to mention, who's very close to Sparta, is Spartak Mikhailyan. You know, coming out of Elevation Fight Team, trains over at High Altitude Martial Arts with some of, I would say, Sparta's high-level pros who have come through our circuit, you know, and made it, you know, to higher shows, higher opportunities. And I mean, man, what a name to be fighting for Sparta, have a first name with Spartak.
Yeah.
You know, it's spelled nearly identical, just a little K on the end. Does that mean king, like Sparta King? I mean, how do you take that?
Right, yeah. So when Arut called me and he said, I got a guy that's built perfect for you. And he sends me over, you know, the topology. And I was just like, I love the guy's name. He's a fit for Sparta.
Absolutely.
And I said, get a hold of Vern, you know, you get him matched up. But he's very high on him. I'm excited to see him fight. You know, it's always hard, like, seeing somebody's statistics and, like, without seeing them perform. And you've done such an amazing job of, like, bringing all this new talent to Sparta that a lot of us haven't seen, and we're excited to see, you know, more. Every card has more and more new talent. So, you know, kudos to you. You've absolutely crushed that.
Well, thank you. Again, you know, we talk about it all the time. It takes a great team. It takes a great environment. And we're all kind of provided that atmosphere to be able to work within, you know, our area and just grow from there. You know, and I mean, I'm blessed to have that opportunity to continue to build these cards, to bring this new talent. You know, I love having the opportunity to go out and talk to the gyms, speak with the fighters face to face, let them know what sets us apart from other regional promotions, other state-based promotions. You know, it's our job to provide that platform. It's their job to show out, and they absolutely are. So, I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You know, we have the fortune of having the best fighters, the best gyms, the best coaches in the state of Colorado want to be a part of Sparta. And that's an exciting thing.
Yeah, it's been very exciting. I love to see the rebirth of boxing back in Sparta as well. As you know, it's a big passion of mine. So seeing the boxing come back with the kickboxing, the MMA, you know, the Muay Thai, the King of Sparta tournament, you know, seeing Yusuf Zalal run the table and get back into UFC where he belongs. It's just been so exciting. But I think that what makes AVM special is the storyline behind it, right? And the cause behind it. And this is for the veterans. For those of you who don't know, Vern is a Marine and also a combat veteran. So you know, you could share a little bit about what this event means to you.
Absolutely. I mean, this event, you know, in its infancy, whenever it was first starting out as a veteran, as a combat veteran, I didn't really necessarily know how, you know, a fight promotion, a combat sports promotion, and I've been competing in combat sports during my military time, heavily after my military time, and it really, you know, between coaching and fighting saved my life. But to have an event be so focused on giving back to the military, giving back to wounded warriors, you know, that are local based, not talking about, you know, always giving back to the larger fundraisers or the larger, you know, things that are out there that try to help wounded warriors. But here at home, it means so much, not only to myself, but, you know, another great veteran who's fought for Sparta, done a lot for Sparta, works along with us, Dusky Van Ness. You know, love that guy like he's my brother. He's very much like your brother, you know, and I mean, for us to have something that gives us a little bit of that camaraderie back, and a little bit more of a you know, kind of a directive, and allows us to still have a passion for something. You know, it puts us back in a position, myself personally, you know, the first time that I'd spoken to you about AVM 15 years ago, you know, and kind of realized where it came from you, having an Army veteran father, you know, from Vietnam era, you know, and why you wanted to do something along those lines. It was touching. It was something that, you know, would take somebody such as myself, such as Dusky, So many other hundreds of veterans out there who have had a chance to meet you, share their story, and be able to witness and be a part of something like this. It just gives us, it gives us a love that we don't necessarily feel whenever we get out of the military or as we continue to serve and eventually, just feel like our time is up. It puts us back in a position through combat sports, through any sport really, but combat sports just to kind of have that same passion, that same camaraderie that we would have in the military. Myself in the Marine Corps, I was in the infantry, I was an 0331 machine gunner. I served in a CAT team, that's Combined Anti-Armored Tank Team. We would go out and button up tanks, but whenever we weren't in Humvees out chasing down tanks, we were out there goofing off, wrestling, playing in the sandbox, a little bit of combative training and find out who was the best. We get out here and have a chance to compete in combat sports in a cage or a ring, and suddenly it's like, man, I get to knock your head off and I don't go to jail for it. I can't be discharged for it. I can't be, get an article against me, or just anything like that would happen in the military. So, AVM means so much to so many people. It even means, and this comes from a personal level as well, a lot to the families of us veterans who have been a part of it.
Yeah.
It gives us something to focus on, at least once a year, to really dig down deep, give each other a little bit of a hard time. If Dusky was here, we'd be talking trash about Marine Corps Army. If I was sitting here with anybody else from another branch, I'd be running my suck a little bit, talking a little bit, and we'd have a good time with it. But we're all super excited, so thank you for what you bring to, with AVM.
Oh, this event has done so much for me too, and just the community and the family that I've garnered from the event, you included and Dusky. And, I tell everybody my favorite part of this event is that no matter where we are with our, in the political world, whether we're on the right or the left side, that night you just have 4,000 or 5,000 proud Americans and everybody chanting USA, USA, like
and everybody
during
in
the ceremony.
House that night is an American.
Everybody that in the house that night is an American, and it's beautiful. It just makes you so proud to be a fucking American. Takes away all the ugliness that like we see every day and all the bullshit and the fighting, and just allows everybody to to come together. And when we honor the guys, I'm really excited this year. We're honoring Sergeant Major Isaid, and he was a combat vet himself. He served with Dusky, and he's all the way up to Sergeant Major and retiring now, and he's just a great guy. And then Jared Padilla, he went through some tough times. He battled cancer. He's a Marine. He beat it, and he always says cancer picked the wrong motherfucker. And so he's doing good. He's going to be there. He's fought on the event. His father is a Vietnam veteran as well. And this event just means so much to him. It's crazy. We have a group of friends that we don't talk to all year, and every April we know that we're going to get to see them. We're going to talk to them. We have several military groups that fly in this weekend, and they have reunions at the event. I'm so excited for it. This is my favorite event every year, and a lot of other people as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's done so much for the community. It's done so much for veterans and families and people really worldwide. It's not just here in Colorado. Like you said, we've held AVM in multiple states. Yeah. But I mean, this is the birth state right here, Colorado. Yeah. And AVM15, it's going to be super exciting.
It's amazing. It's funny. It made me think of it. You've been at every AVM, even out of state. When we did New Mexico, Washington both times, Wyoming, and the disaster that turned into with the rain outside. It's funny, it's Murphy's Law. People are like, man, you got balls doing outdoor shows with no tenting. And I'm like, I ain't scared. We've been doing this shit for 10 years, never had an issue. Here comes Mother Nature, so.
Absolutely. Well, Mother Nature's undefeated. You piss her off, she'll let you know. Saturday is going to be explosive. It's, if not the biggest, one of the biggest AVMs in the history of Sparta. Yeah. From start to finish, this card is nothing but explosive, nothing but fireworks. And I mean, literally, we've said it multiple times here on the show right now, any one of these fights could be Fight of the Night candidate. Any one of them.
Yeah, I mean, what a lot of people don't realize is the work that you put into matchmaking. You actually go through and you watch videos and you study these fights and these fighters. And what I loved most when I matchmaked, it was like I loved seeing in my head two great fighters that I knew could come together and put it on. And like I loved watching their videos. The way you do it is taking it to a whole new level. where you like literally do the round breakdown, you go through it, and you can see, I mean, November was holy shit card, and then you came right back in January where you're like, there's no way you're going to come back and beat that. And then, you know, you had February, and then March was by far the most, you know, we call ourselves the most violent show on earth, and that was a proven fact. I mean, that was a crazy night. The most knockouts we've ever had in one night.
Yeah. And two of them back to back. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. The co-main event and main event. Again, potential fights of the year, you know, could have been fights of the night, knockout of the night. One of them were knockout of the night, you know, and both of them received bonuses on that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change it this year at the end of the year awards. There's gonna have to be a knockout of the year for boxing, a knockout of the year for Muay Thai, a knockout of the year for kickboxing, a knockout of the year for MMA. And I'll tell you what, people are gonna have a hard time taking the throne from Hussam El Kasari after the flying knee knockout that he landed on Dan Wilson, you know, at the last fight. That it was crazy.
And it was perfectly timed. You know, I mean, it really was. That was such a great fight between two very experienced fighters.
I think one of my favorite up-and-coming fighters that you've put on in the recent months is it Juan Barrientos? How do you say his last name?
Miguel Barrientos.
Miguel Barrientos. He is a stud. I love watching that kid fight. He is one of my favorite young fighters to watch.
Absolutely. And Miguel Barrientos is dropping down to super featherweight this Saturday to take the 150-pound crown, since we're actually offering those weight classes that matter most to these young fighters, you know, so that they're not trying to hurt themselves, kill themselves with these hard weight cuts. Taking on another very experienced fighter coming up from Lubbock, Texas area with Victory Combat Training down there with Shannon Morton, Lee Fregoso. Lee Fregoso is 5-1, high-level striker, high-level wrestler. It's another fight that deserves co-main or main event accolades. Well, and again, that's just kind of a credit to our great team around us, you know, the hard work that we all put into it. You were talking about my style of matchmaking. You've never really seen the way somebody breaks it down the way I do. You know, it's important that whenever we're booking these fighters and matching them, that we're looking into the backgrounds of who we may potentially offer their coaches, offer their team. Because they say styles make matchups, and they absolutely do. But the wrong styles, the wrong matchups, the wrong opportunity might look perfect on a piece of paper. But it might really demoralize or knock down a young athlete that's trying to grow into this sport. You know, you and I have had many private conversations. I've, you know, just preached about it's our job, our opportunity to provide this platform for these young guys until we're the largest platform in the world for them to be crawling up, you know, hey, let me get on. It's our job to help elevate them. Well, now we've reached that, you know, that point here within the Colorado base where, you know, we have the coaches, the gyms, the fighters. Everybody wants to be a part of Sparta. It's an amazing thing. But again, because we have such an amazing team around us.
Yes.
You know, AVM15, it almost came together like it was clockwork, like it was, you know, it didn't take a whole lot, even though there's so much hard work that's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, and we talk about these young talented fighters, you know, these new talented fighters that a lot of people haven't heard from or heard of gyms such as 29 Degrees Muay Thai. Yeah. You know, it has an outstanding fighters in general. Griffin Kennedy over there, our new 127 pound, Muay Thai champ, Madison Wickham, fighting the same weekend actually in California against the number 4 ranked Muay Thai fighter in her weight division in the world. Otherwise, she would be on our card as well. They're excited to get back. But I want to mention real quick and talk about 2 veterans who have fought for Sparta on a number of occasions. Both of them still at the amateur level, both of them savage as fuck and ready to take that next step. But they're fighting each other because they haven't always had luck on their side, but they've been in absolutely every fight they've ever been in. Juan Sarios and Jose Gomez. You're talking about 2 fighters, almost 30 fights between the 2 of them as amateurs. Juan Sarios is only 21 years old, and that kid's had 10 damn fights, 10 or 11 fights. Jose Gomez is 30 years old, just turned 30 years old not long ago, is pushing 15 fights. And I told him, I said, look, this is gonna be your last amateur fight, however the cards play out at the end, you need to take that next step, set the board straight, and just move forward.
Yeah.
And that could be fight of the night right there.
Yeah, I love Juan. He's another one. He's anytime, anywhere. I'm like, there's so many of those guys on the card. And, you know, I was teasing Jose when we were, I saw him at another event that we were doing over at the venue. And I'm like, are you not fighting on this one? Or you are on fighting on this one? It's like, he's on a card every fucking week. You know, he's like, he's a great guy. I love them both. That is going to be a banger.
It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a great fight. Jose, I like to, you know, joke with him a little bit because he's got that old school, you know, mentality of being a fighter, anyone, anywhere, anytime, any weight class. He's fought everywhere from 125 pounds to 175 pounds.
Yeah.
A 50-pound swing there. Fought Elias Agozi, who's getting ready to fight on our card as well, against Army veteran, active Army veteran currently, Emilio Marquez, 1-0 undefeated. You know, that's going to be another great fight. Juan Sarios himself has fought from 135 to 155, a few weight classes there. You know, I mean, you just got two guys that are absolutely ready to go anytime, anywhere, anyone, any weight class. Let's just fight. Let's just do it. So.
Yeah, I'm excited I'm so excited for the fight card to just happen already. There's so many good fights on there. It's going to be interesting to see who walks away with some bonuses that night.
It really is. You know, we've got a loaded fight card. It dropped down to 24 fights. We originally had 27. It's fight week. Happens every fight, every opportunity that we put on an event. Anybody that's in the combat sports world out there knows how that works. And, you know, but we're just blessed. We're fortunate to have so many great competitors, great young athletes, combatants that are ready to get into the Sparta cage, the Sparta ring, and we're going to put on a hell of a show Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And then, you know, right into the future, you know, we have June, July, August. It's going to be incredible fight cards, but let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go, baby. I told you not long ago, I'm just going to start calling you the CEO of Let's Fucking Go. So you heard it here first, guys. Jeff Cisneros, CEO of Let's Fucking Go. Anytime, anywhere, any business venture, he's up for it.
All right, guys, we're super excited. Fight card, order it live right now on pay-per-view.